Hello. Today is not Friday. Today is Wednesday. And normally I don't do the videos until a bit later in the week, but I had a free moment now. I may not find it so easily on Friday. But we've had one trade this week. It was a loss. It was a trend trade. There was nothing today, but that's expected because today is federal holiday in the US. So the markets were essentially closed, nothing happening. So I just wanted to talk a couple of issues, which um, they're really going to sound a bit odd, but basically I really want to talk about are things which I would have done differently, referring to trading. Um, the first thing is that when I started out, this was a long time ago. This is over 20 years ago. Um, but in some respects, things were easier because there didn't seem to be so many people out there shilling systems. You had far less information available on YouTube in terms of systems. So I think the tendency was to sort of do it yourself, right? Now, it's interestingly, I don't think there's actually a major problem with that in the beginning because you're going to make mistakes, and it's always nice to sort of make them yourself on a demo account. The basics, buy and sell. Can I sell before I buy? All of these things which are not necessarily logical for people who haven't traded before. So I would say, first of all, that with the benefit of hindsight, that would be something I would say which was positive, which was just playing around with systems and platforms on my own, obviously using a demo account before I touched it with real funds. The second thing is that when we are now, let's say, starting out trading, and this is going to sound quite counterproductive, but I'm going to say it anyway. Just because somebody has been trading for 20 years does not mean that they are going to be, number one, the right person for you, or number two, that they're actually profitable. There is a lot of people out there who really can't trade and just sell courses. As most people who've been my students would realize, I'm definitely not doing this for the money. I just genuinely enjoy teaching trading. It's something which occupies my day because trading does not occupy my day. And it's something that makes me feel productive and helpful to people as well. There has to be a price on it because, in my experience, if you don't put a price on it, people do not value it. So it's a little bit strange, but there we are. The other thing I would say, in the benefit of hindsight, is that I would have not quit jobs so easily just because I was doing really well with my trading. There is a world of difference trading when you really need that money to pay bills, put food on the table, versus where you have a day job or maybe you have a variety of side gigs covering your basics, and trading is, another source of income. You're just not going to trade the same. That's my personal experience, and it's taken me a while to learn that because it took me 3 times. That's quite embarrassing, but it took me 3 times to realize that. So I wouldn't wish that on anybody. You must still have other sources of income. They don't have to be jobs; they could be passive as well, eventually. But you're not going to trade in the same way. If you can, that means you're the Terminator, and you didn't need any of my advice anyway. Next thing I would say is in terms of things like prop firms. You could create a YouTube channel about prop firms, as people have done, because the information changes daily. It's like gossip on the royal family in the UK. There is just so much out there that keeping up with it full time is a full time day job. On that score, I would say that don't be too negative on the whole situation with prop firms. Yes, there has been a lot of flux in the industry. It's not regulated, which is one of the primary sources of the problems. But the second issue is the fact that it has just grown to an uncontrollable level. There aren't enough people out there looking to do prop firm challenges, for example, to support that many companies out there. So inevitably, you see a flight to quality, as they say in economics. And I would say that flight to quality basically at least two, and those would be FTMO and the fibers. And yes, you're going to find better deals out there, but I think, to be honest, how frustrating would it be to qualify with somebody else and then a month afterwards find out their firm's just gone under? while there is no way you can guarantee anything there, you can do the obvious and look at longevity. You know, how long has the firm been in business? And I think that's a really great way of making a simple conclusion about where to go. If you don't have oodles of money to trade with your own money, there's no shame in that. If you have managed, and this comes on to my next point, if you have managed to trade, and not necessarily successfully, if I'm talking about my first month, I'm talking about following the rules. Because the sequences of wins and losses is something that we can't control. But my experience, I'm talking personally, by the way, not just others, is that there were so many times when I wasted my effort because I gave up, not on trading, but I gave up on a system after a couple of losses, and I was ready to jump on to the next thing. And believe me, that tendency does not go away. And that's why I say, I'm teaching my kids this summer how to trade. My only objective is for them to do the same thing day in, day out, pretty much for the month of July. I will consider that to be a job well done, because irrespective of whether they win or lose, obviously I'd like it if they win, but irrespective of whether they win or lose, that ability to turn up, show up, and operate, in this case, in exactly the right way according to the rules, is an invaluable skill, not just in trading, but in other ventures as well. So that was really all I wanted to talk about today. These are just a few things that have been on my mind recently quite a lot, because, there's really nothing new in the market. I go on X and I do see some really interesting things from time to time, but there's a lot of regurgitation. I'll be honest, guys, sometimes I reuse tweets as well, but I'm not doing it for the money. I mean, they're really, even with a blue tick, there is virtually nothing in it. Okay, so I just want you to understand that I don't teach for money. Okay. Yes, I receive money because I don't think people take it seriously otherwise. But quite frankly, that's not where the money is for me. It is something I really genuinely enjoy doing. And I think that's probably why most teachers don't get paid a lot. Because it's abuse, right? It's a valuable service, but people are not just doing it for the money. Yes, they need to pay the basics. Got off a little bit off track there, but you get the point I'm making. Which is, you need to do your homework when you're going to somebody for a course. But I can honestly say, regardless of whether you took my course or somebody else's, your ability to be able to be consistent, starting off for at least 1 month and then going from there, is crucial. I really don't know how you can be a successful trader, even with the simplest or most complicated system, unless you can be consistent. I'm not talking about profits and losses. I'm talking about execution. Okay, guys, with that, I will leave you and have a great weekend when it comes.